All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. We had a great Memorial Day weekend, and we hope all of you did as well. Thank you to all that have served this country and made the ultimate sacrifice. Without you guys, our freedom would never be possible. What we do every day would never be possible. So thank you to you guys that had, laid your lives down on the line. I hope everybody out there celebrated that because, in this country, it seems like there's this culture that's starting to happen where we don't celebrate the 4th of July or you don't celebrate Memorial Day, but I say fuck that. That's what makes this country great. Those are two great things to celebrate, and they should continue to be celebrated in this country. And freedom is what makes this country great. So I'm going to celebrate any chance I get, and I hope you guys do the same. Today is a special episode. We're going to call it the Campfire Chat, kind of a real talk episode. We haven't had one of those in a while, so no Q&A, no hot topics, no guests. It's just going to be kind of a deep talk that you'd have around the campfire with your buddies. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. Pay the fee. If you get any value from the show, share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, team members, whoever. The more you guys share the show, the better guests we can have on. The more content we can create, and it's just kind of a win-win for everybody. It's kind of just thinking of it as like the ticket to admission to watch or listen to the show. So thank you to all that have been doing that. The show has been growing really, really good. We're up to 1,100 Spotify 5-star reviews, and we're up to like 431 on Apple. So leave a review, guys. If you also get any value from the show there, leave a review. That helps us out a lot. And if you want to submit your questions for a Barn Talk Q&A episode, submit them at barntalkshow@gmail.com, and that's where we can get your questions and answer them on our next Q&A. So yeah.
That was very thorough.
I'm getting there, man.
Did you know we almost have 60,000 subscribers to the Barn Talk YouTube channel?
I know. Isn't that insane?
There?
I just took off like a rocket ship. I just can't believe it. Yeah, I guess I don't mention that all the time in the intro, but for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. We got a lot of new viewers and watchers and listeners because of YouTube. So thank you for supporting us on YouTube. That means a ton to us, and holy cow, it took off like a rocket ship.
Crazy.
And shit, I think we could maybe try to hit 100K this year on YouTube for Barn Talk. That would be awesome. So
I'm going to try to keep being as irritating as possible.
Yeah, there you go. It seems to be working. I guess keep wearing that hat because people sure as hell do love that hat.
A lucky hat.
It is.
I don't know. One of these days I'm going to have to try to take it off and get it clean. It's a little pungent.
Smells a little like hog shit.
Well, it smells. I don't think you can break it down to just one thing. It just stinks. Kind of like these markets, especially the hog market. I think I'll just start with the hog market today. So hog market, $82.52 is the meat price. Not very good if you're a hog farmer, considering the corn market was working down, but it's bone dry. It is bone dry here in the Midwest. There's chance of popcorn showers, we call them, all through the weekend, but nothing of any substance. And I would say we just finished up side dressing, and I would say this corn around here is maybe, I'd say best case scenario, 10 days away from being in pretty bad shape. There's some moisture out there, and I think it depends on your soil. It's already starting to show as far as soil type goes, and just not good. And if we don't get some rain, it's awfully early. I don't remember a time that it's been this dry this early. The yards all look like it's August instead of June or instead of May. And I don't know, tough. And the markets reflect that. So on the hog side, you know, the price of grain had been working down because here we are, we got a big crop planted. South America, their harvest is going on, and there was a lot of pressure on the top side pushing prices down. But now all of the weather patterns look dry. There's some patterns that are showing this dryness moving more to the east and maybe us getting some rain, and that actually has tempered the market a little bit today. But still, corn $5.94 on the board, so it was down a little bit. Last week it worked its way down, and earlier this week, but it's been back every day. It's been up. Today it was actually off just a little bit on that change in the weather pattern, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. But in a sign of what local basis can do for you, shout out to John Grinder and Cat's Grain, because he was on here and we talked about local basis. And the local price for corn today, best price I could find from one of the feeders, $6.42. So you got $5.94 on the board and you got $6.42 local. That's a pretty good basis, I would say. Soybeans $12.99, $13.30 at the river, and $13.63 if you want to go across to the Quincy side. I talked about hogs. Demand, the meat's just not moving. I don't know what's causing that. But the only one making money on meat, cattle, or pork is the grocery store, because the packer's not making any money. The margin on their side isn't any good. They're losing money. And the only people that are making anything is your retailer, because just so you know, those greedy bastards, they're charging you the same price that they've been charging for a long time, because they don't like to drop prices on the consumers, because if they drop them, then when they have to raise them, everybody gets pissed, and they've got you all conditioned to paying about what you're paying, but they're paying a hell of a lot less for this meat right now than what they have been, but they're not passing that on to you. So they're the ones that are making some money right now. Wiener pigs, I saw the other day, somebody had a price out there of like, I don't know, I want to say it was about $12 a head for wiener pigs. And I mean, that's like a throwback. I think I've told the story of, we bought a set of wiener pigs once when we were getting out of Farrowin, and basically we paid the freight to get them here from North Carolina. We didn't actually pay. We got the pigs for nothing if we paid the trucking to get them there. We're not quite that bad, but wiener pigs, I heard a price of $11 for a group of wiener pigs. Cattle, $169 on fat cattle. Feeder cattle, $2.39 a pound for feeder cattle. Tesla, $206. I fully expect Tesla to keep moving up from here. The news just keeps coming out. They signed a deal with Ford. Ford's going to be able to use their chargers, Ford electric vehicles are going to be able to use Tesla's chargers. They signed a deal with them on that, which is probably good for Ford in the fact that you have access to better chargers, because if you're not using the Tesla charging network, you're going to hate it because the rest of them are trash. That is a completely unbiased opinion. And they're making money, and the rest of these automakers are not. It ain't good, and it's not good on the gas side either. There are so many problems you see and talk to people that have bought new vehicles. Quality's terrible. A lot of engine problems, a lot of recalls, a lot of warranty work. Just not a good time for the American auto industry, and so I fully expect that Tesla number to probably just keep working up. Bud, I like throwing Bud in there. They're $54, and that's generous. I think it's actually a little less than that. They're not doing too well.
I saw today they are getting overthrown for the number one beer sold in America. They're officially losing that title.
Miller?
I don't know, but I did see that Modelo is trending way up. People are buying the shit out of Modelos, which is, hey, I like a Corona more than I like a Modelo, but people seem to really enjoy those. I saw that stat, so I don't know. I don't think Modelo's the number one selling beer now in America, but they are definitely trending up, and Bud Light is trending down. So I did see that on Twitter this afternoon. So
hey, Frat Boys got a drink.
That's right.
They ain't drinking Bud Light.
Nope, they're not. One last thing that I forgot to throw in the intro. Memorial Day was great here for us, not just because we were enjoying Memorial Day, but because it was Dad's 50 52nd birthday.
52 years.
52 years.
26 times 2.
Yep. 52 years. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
26 times 2?
Yeah, that's
52. He turned 52 on Memorial Day. So give him a happy birthday in the comments, because
glad
another
I woke
year.
up.
Glad you woke up too. I can't do it. I can't do this thing without you. So
Yep.
just keep.
And I can't do anything without you. So we're stuck.
Yep.
That was that birthday was kind of the catalyst to this episode, because I was looking back through episodes we'd done, and when we first started, we were kind of, I guess you'd say, we were kind of fumbling around trying to figure out what it was going to look like, and we did some episodes where we talked about one specific specific thing that we felt like helped us, like getting up early, staying organized, stuff like that. And then we kind of got on the guests, the Q&A, the hot topics, and we've kind of stuck with it. But a lot of people have trouble. Well, I don't know. They say people do. They say, you turn 40 and people give you black balloons and all that, and a lot of people have trouble with that, and they get a midlife crisis. Or you turn 50 and you feel like, oh shit, you're getting old and my best years are behind me and all that. I didn't have a problem with any of that. I never really thought about it. My 52nd birthday, I did a lot of reflecting, and it wasn't because I was straight hammered either. I laid in bed that night and I was reading. I'm old, so I got Facebook. All my friends are on Facebook, so they send you the happy birthday deal, and I appreciate that. And I wish I was better at remembering everybody else's birthday, because I go in spurts where I do, and sometimes I forget, and I'm not very dependable. Something else. Add that to the list of what I got to work on. But I ran upon this picture. My dad with my 2 brothers, and he's holding me, and it would have been 1971. Within a couple weeks of me coming, I don't know if it's the week they brought me home from the hospital, but I'm pretty newborn. And my guess is they were taking me to church, maybe to get baptized. I don't know, but everybody looked like they were halfway dressed up, especially my brothers. They look real goofy. So that'll be good for a few laughs to just see how they used to dress them, because I'm glad I was enough older they didn't do that to me. But anyway, it got me thinking, because when I was born, my dad was 52 years old. And a common comment that was made to him as he would push me around our little town in a stroller, people his age and people he knew that didn't know him real well would say, "Well, hi, Lawrence. Was that your grandson?" And, he would say, "No, this is my son." And they would be like, "Holy shit." And as I grew, there were a lot of things about my dad that I thought odd, one of them being that he was never very big on staying up late. He went to bed pretty early, and all of us kids thought that was funny. And I was thinking as I was laying in bed that night, no wonder that he went to bed early. And in fact, that morning of my birthday, on Memorial Day, I went to the cemetery and stood there and talked to him a little bit. And I realized that my father always seemed like he was short on time. He always worked with an urgency that I didn't understand. And we didn't spend much time goofing off. We didn't go on vacation, and we didn't have camper and jet skis and all that. We just didn't do any of that. We spent a lot of time working, and there was probably some resentment for that. But he always seemed like he was, running behind. Okay, well, now I realize that he was, because when most people were working towards getting their kids out of the house, my dad started a family. And me being 52, and I think about my children are grown, and if I had to start over, I'd go to bed early. I'd go to bed really early, because I think I'd be exhausted. So then that got me thinking that how precious your time is, and we all know that, we all talk about it, but I have felt in my life like, man, when people said, oh, you're getting older, you're doing this, you're doing that, I was like, I got all the time in my world. My dad was 52 when I was born. Like, he didn't have to get his shit together till he was like 52. Well, now I'm 52. I better have my shit together, because now I'm like, I know I've been here all the time that my dad was alive, from 52 to when he passed at 99 years old. We were together. I've seen that pattern. And now I know why he worked with urgency. And I told Sawyer, I said, we need to just have a talk about the most precious asset that you have is your time.
1,000% correct. It is. That is something that I guess I kind of observed about Grandpa. I mean, he was kind of slowing down when I was getting going, because he was well in his, he was probably 70, 80 years old when I was starting to grow up, but he still was working then. I mean, He didn't stop working until he was 90 years old. But I think that, people really like to strive for money and work for money. But like, there's this epiphany you have where, like, the money goes, people go, and it kind of changes here and there. And you reach a certain level of, like, some people hit a certain level of wealth where they really realize that, hey, this money can come and go. People can come and go, but my time's always going away. Every day you're getting older. Every day it's going away. So you got to try your best to maximize your time for, this is where it gets hard. Do you maximize your time for your happiness? Do you maximize your time for making money, providing for your family? Do you maximize time for your health? And I think there's a balance there that you can try to find of doing it all. But I think ultimately you got to balance your time at something that you enjoy doing. And I say enjoy doing. Like, there's some days, I think that's something that in society today we get fed a lot, is follow your passion, which sometimes I feel like is kind of bullshit, because I don't feel like you really get passionate about something until you start to get good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, for most people, I look at things in my life. I mean, you do have loves, some loves, but you might discover something, try it, suck at it, but get better at it and realize that, man, I love doing this. I like doing this. I mean, we didn't know what we were getting into with this podcast. Yes. It wasn't like a love, like we didn't have this dream of becoming having a podcast, but we did it and we started to get pretty good at it.
Now I love it.
And now we love doing it, and it's one of those things that I think, yes, follow your passion, but you gotta balance that. You got to balance that a little bit, I guess you'd say. You got to find that. Might find the love and the passion in something once you start getting good at it, I guess.
Yeah, and the idea that if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life, that saying, which goes along with what you said, which is kind of bullshit. Because there's jobs that you love when you think about them, like, I love farming. I love raising pigs. Do I love that every day?
No.
Hell no.
There's shit that you do that sucks. But overall, you love it.
Yep. And I love what it gives me, what it gives me is time to be with my wife and be with my kids and be on the farm that I otherwise couldn't. Mm-hmm. And I said this to you when you built your hog building. Life is full of a lot of very mundane days where you do the same thing over and over, and it does not seem to be for anything, or it doesn't really change your trajectory. However, like the day we set up at your shed when they poured the floor, I said, this is one of those days, because this changes your whole trajectory. Because you know that it isn't just that day, but the act of doing that, you now have a building. You now have something that is going to pay you in the long game, it's going to pay you. And that's like, you start a business, you rent a space, whatever it is. But that's the one side of using your time on things that are important to changing your trajectory or to bettering you or to put you in a position to move your family ahead, to move your life ahead. That's good time management. But then the other thing is, and we all do this, we spend a lot of time, my wife calls it buffering, and you can call it whatever you want, but you know how many people in this country have a good job, air quotes, good job, make a lot of money, and then they have a house, they have a family, and they spend a lot of money to buy toys to go places and do things so that they never have to talk to those people in their family and they don't ever have to solve the hard problems and do the work on themselves to take their relationship with their relationship with themselves, but their relationship with their family, because we all have shit that we need to work on. And there are a hell of a lot of people that they as a family do, I'm doing air quotes again, they do a lot of things. They go to the lake, they go snowmobiling, they go 4x4, they go this, they do that. They have all this stuff, and sports is a big thing, and I'm not knocking on sports because we loved following our kids through all the stuff they did, but they stay busy. They stay busy wasting their time so that they don't have to have the hard conversations.
Or they don't have to think about the trajectory.
Yes.
Because they don't want to think about it.
Right.
I think a lot of people do that shit too so that they can show to other people that they have their shit together.
Yeah.
They show that they have their shit together.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though they're a mess inside.
Right. Exactly. I go back to your point of just, the mundane days. But that's where the mundane days is where you can get the big trajectory days. The mundane days, the collection of the mundane days is what gets you to the monumental moments that happen.
Yep.
Like that's the unlock. If you can realize that every day matters, every single day matters. And if you want to achieve a goal or a dream, what you do every day, working with urgency and doing shit every day that's going to move you forward, you are going to have a mundane, all those mundane days that you're executing every day, and you feel like you're doing the same thing every day, and you're just grinding and you're executing. That can get kind of old sometimes, but then you're gonna have one of those trajectory days, one of those breakout days, monumental days that just fills you up. It makes all those mundane days feel worth it. It really does. And I mean, if you've never experienced that before, just keep working at what you're doing, because I'm telling you, I've had only a couple in my life. You've probably had way more than me, but those mundane days add up and it feels like a grind. But once you hit that monumental day, man, it almost like lights a fire and assures you that what you are doing, you are on the right path, and you just got to keep executing every single day on those. You got to do the boring work. That is the truth of it. You have to use your time effectively to do the boring work day in and day out, and you will reach the place that you want to go. That is the 100% truth. That's the truth.
But start. That boring work, you got to start with the end in mind. And you and I talked about this, like there's degrees to that. Like I've heard people say that, and I haven't done this. Maybe I should do it. I've thought about doing it, but I haven't. But there's people that say, you should write the obituary that you want printed about your life, and then work backwards. Now that's kind of hardcore. That's a little morbid. But the other thing is, if you're doing mundane things every day, and you know that what you're working on is not what you want to be, then you need to pivot. You need to pivot. And the longer you stay, the longer you keep doing what you know is not going to get you that monumental day. That's a waste. That's a waste.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people say, like you were saying. Well, man, my dad he didn't have me till he's 52. You're a perfect example. Time fucking flies.
It flies.
It flies. I'm 23, so I haven't lived a bunch of life yet, but from 18 to 23, I always said I felt like school was the slowest time period of my life, and now from 18 to 23, it has been the fastest. Yep. It has gone so quick, and I don't even have kids yet, and I know that's going to go way faster too. So do not delay trying to work on your goals, and just start. Like, just get a piece of paper out and say, what is the first step to get me to go where I want to go, and just start going, because you say, oh, I got so much time to do that. I got so much time to do that. Life will hit you in the face, and life happens. And then you're going to wake up and you're going to regret. That to me is what I try to live my life on. I heard this from Gary Vee. Love him or hate him, but I think this is a powerful thing. You have to reverse engineer backwards from you laying on your deathbed or you laying in that nursing home in a bed or in that room like all the day. What do you want your life? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want to achieve? Because I'm going to tell you, regretting shit sitting in that nursing home, all you're going to be thinking about is all the shit that you regretted. And when you're on your deathbed, you're going to think about all the shit you regret. And I don't want to regret anything. I truly don't. I want to try to live a life that I don't regret shit. Or I don't regret as much as I don't want to regret anything. As best I can, I guess. And so that's something that I strive to do every day. So yeah, when you're like, man, that goal seems out of reach, or man, that goal, I don't think I can handle that. You got to try, because your future self is going to thank you for it if you give it a try and you go for it. Versus if you don't, you'll never know the other outcome, and you'll wish that you would have gone for it. You just will. You'll regret if you don't go after what you want. You just will. And I try to live by that all the time. I try to put that in the forefront of my mind whenever I have an idea that I think I want to do. I mean, like just like this brand. I mean, putting yourself online, it's not easy. I mean, shit, I didn't know shit, and I didn't love public speaking. I was the kind of kid that when I had to get up in class to give a presentation, I was nervous. I was shaking in my boots. I didn't want to do that. And then I said, this is where I kind of want to go. And I didn't want to buy a camera and start shooting myself and, holding the camera in my face and start talking. But I did it, and it's because I knew I wanted to go somewhere. And I know if I wouldn't have done it, I would have regretted not doing it. So look where it got you. It gets you somewhere. It gets you going. Taking that leap and going, it gets you somewhere.
Write it down.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Make yourself... We're techie, so you can put it on your phone. You don't have to write it down on paper. But make a list of what's important to you. Make a list of what's important to you today, but make a list of where you want to go, what you want to achieve. And it can be as frivolous or as crazy big as you want it to be, but don't write that list, make that list. And then don't put it away. Don't put it somewhere where you're never going to see it. Put it somewhere where you're going to look at it and you're going to think about it. And you're going to fall asleep at night thinking about those thoughts. Because as you do that, they call that manifesting, don't they? Something like that.
1,000% manifesting.
So what you're going to find is the more you think about those things that you want to achieve, the more subconsciously
you're going
to make decisions that steer you towards those goals you have and less on things that don't fit that. And right along with that is, and we wrote this down. I don't think we put it on there, but you talk about it. There are people, there are very good intentioned people, and there's very poor intentioned people that are time vampires. They will just, they have no value for time. So to them, a conversation about nothing or needing you to help them with something that they could have done themselves or what, you name it. We spend so much time dealing with others in our lives that we just need to have a hard conversation and say, listen, next time, don't call me for this because this, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I got, like there are certain people that, for lack of a better way to say it, you just got to cut.
You can't, you got to say no sometimes. You just do.
You got to say no.
You got to learn to say no. And I know I'm not saying be a dick. I'm just saying you got to learn to say no because you have got to put yourself first and your future first. Where you want to go is only going to happen if you put in the work to get there. And if people are sucking your time all the time, always getting on the phone and bitching to you about their life, or sitting and gossiping about this person and that person, that's all they talk about, or all they talk about is sports to you all the time, and you don't get deep ever, that's a fucking waste of time. I'm just going to say it. I'm not saying never talk about sports with your buddies and bullshit, but if you're doing that all the time and you're around people that are negative and just are calling you to bitch or calling you to gossip, and that's all they fill your brain with, that's a waste of time, and it's not going to fail. Next time you have somebody call you and bitch to you for a couple hours, hang up the phone and see how you feel. Do you feel like really tackling the world or feel pretty good about the outlook of where we are? Probably not. You probably don't feel good.
Right.
You can't fill your time up with those kinds of people. And there's family. There's family like that. You might have friends like that. And that's okay. I'm not saying completely cut those people out of your life, but limit your time and be conscious about it. Limit your time and be conscious about, is this a person that I can talk to, that I can strategize, that can help me get closer to my goals, that can walk with me on this journey? Or is this somebody that's going to be a time vampire, suck my time away, make me feel like shit, and just fill my head up with negativity? If they are that, limit your time with them.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do. And back to the manifesting thing. I 1,000% believe that is a thing. 1,000%. I have all my goals for this year on my whiteboard in my office, and I look at them daily. And I try to visualize myself achieving those goals, or walk, like, you know, if you want to buy a new tractor for your operation, think about going to the dealership, or think about ordering that tractor and it showing up and you getting in it and you putting the key in there and you driving it to your farm. Think about where it's going to sit in your shop. Think about the details of that goal. And that's a materialistic thing that you can, it's really easy to think about those things. But think about not only just the thing, but you being in that thing, you being submerged in that goal, what you look like, where it looks, where are the settings at, like that is how you manifest shit. That's how you attract shit, by thinking of those thoughts, for sure. I'm 100% believer in that. Hey, this is going pretty well. I've only stumbled my words about 2 times, so that's good. If you gotten this far, leave a review on Spotify or Apple. It really helps us out, guys. That's all I ask. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
I'll tell you a good example of this put to use. So my family on my father's side is a very fractured deal. So, you know, he farmed with his brother and that fell apart. His sister was never really around. She did her own thing, and all three of those members of that family have passed now. And it was not a good relationship. My dad and his brother actually farmed together, and they farmed together for a fair amount of time. And then they spent the rest of their lives not speaking to each other. And on my mother's side, there was a lot of animosity between siblings there, but then also her distant family. I mean, they didn't get along well. And my wife and I, from when we were first married, something that was important to both of us was having a family that was close. And we talked about it, and we both envisioned that. And our hope was that when our children graduated high school and went to college or didn't go to college, whatever they did, that we would remain close, they wouldn't move far away. But you can't control that. You don't have any control over that. I mean, you can try to control it, but it's probably going to bite you in the ass. And we knew we couldn't do that. However, everything that we did kind of to keep the decisions we made about how we spent our weekends and how we had meals together and what we talked and what we said to each other and our kids, I think that all had an effect, because in the back of our mind, we had this idea that, we wanted to remain close. Now, some days we're closer than others, but I could have never envisioned it turning out the way that it has, as far as I'm in business with my youngest son. My youngest son is in business with his brother. All of us are in business together. We're all here. We don't all get along all the time, but we get along pretty well, and we're pretty like-minded. And that wasn't from accident. That wasn't random. And it's work. It's not a fairy tale. There's hard conversations and there's stuff that we fight about, but we have buy-in, and between all of us, we're all invested in the idea that what we're doing together is a worthwhile endeavor, and we're all willing to pledge our time to it. It only works when everybody values the time that they put into that project. And I only tell you that just to say, there's people listening to this that don't have a family. There's people listening to this that do have a family, that older, younger, whatever. But one thing that is one of the best investments of your time is that family. You have to look at that as those quality times and good conversations and conversations of substance. Just sitting and watching a movie together, yeah, that's fine. Or just going to a sporting event, or just going and being on a boat, that's great. But have real conversations and invest in the people that you want to invest in you. That time is important. And
I'd agree with you on that. I always say, if I talk business with you, that means I really love you and I really fuck with you, because those are conversations of substance. I don't have those conversations with many people. I only have those conversations with people that,
are important.
that really are important and value each other's relationship and really take our ego out of things and share wins together. I think the best thing that you did, as from a son's perspective, one of the best things that you and mom did, and this is kind of off the subject of time, but just talking about, I think one of the reasons how we ended up the way we ended up is you never told us that we couldn't do something.
Yeah.
If we ever came to you, and I mean idea-wise, if I ever had an idea, you never shot it down and said, that's stupid, they'll never work. You're going to fail at that. Don't do that shit. That's dumb. Even if you thought that, you never let me know that. Mom and dad never let me know that. They just let the market decide. They went out, they did it, and the market decides, and if it was a shitty decision, the market will tell them it's a shitty decision. We don't need to tell them it's a shitty decision. And that's, you did that. You never, ever discouraged us to go and do our own thing and try something.
Yeah.
And try to, work on something, work on our craft. You never discouraged that. You always just said, yeah, sure. Go for it.
That was cheap entertainment.
And when stuff actually worked, then you bought in.
Yep.
It wasn't like you might have been a little skeptical, but you never let us know. Yep. But then if it worked, you bought in and supported 100%. And that was if that is what I'm going to try my hardest to do when I'm a parent, and is just do not take that fire out of your kid.
Yep.
Let the market tell your kid if something's going to work or not. Don't be the one that does that, because nothing kills a kid's spirit more than their parent fucking telling them that that's a terrible idea. You shouldn't do that. That's going to fail. Why'd you even think of that? That's going to shoot them down and discourage them more than any market would.
Yep.
1,000%. And I know that's kind of off topic, but I just was thinking about it because you brought up family and the conversations that we had. I just remember being little, and I dreamed about when I was a kid. I loved football, and I dreamed, and I said I always wanted to be Wes Welker because I was short and I didn't think I was ever going to get tall. And I remember always telling my parents, I'm going to be an NFL football player, and they never told me that can't be possible. When I started talking about doing social media and I want to get here, or I want to do this, or I want to start this, they never told me that's out of sight. That's dumb. Don't even think like that. Why are you thinking like that? Never. They never, ever, ever discouraged our dreams. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Well, thanks. We tried.
Yeah.
Some of the one of my favorite dreams that didn't quite work, and this wasn't just yours, it was yours and your friends, which Sawyer had a group of friends, and I always will make the comment to this day when they're together. I said, boys, all of you together is dumber than any of you by yourselves, because they came up with some doozies. But one summer, they decided that they were going to make a bunch of money selling brown eggs.
Raising chickens.
Getting chickens. And they put in the work. They fixed up one end of one of the old hog buildings, and they got it all ready to go. And the only person, or the only winner out of that deal was our German Shepherd Duke, because he found a flaw in their containment unit, and every day he would just go get another chicken, and he'd play with the chicken until it quit wanting to play, and then the next day he'd go get another one.
Yeah.
Before very long, they were out of chickens.
Yeah, it wasn't a good business deal. No structure,
but
nothing.
We never said it couldn't work.
Never shot it down.
We didn't.
They never shot it down. See, that's a perfect example. They never told us that was stupid, but we learned from it.
They did. They finally all threw the towel and said,
learned.
This is stupid.
We learned. But that's why I think that I dream so big now, because that's where I was actually going to go. I think I heard this and I agree with this statement. I think a lot of people don't plan big enough. They don't dream big enough. If you're going to be on this planet and time's a ticking, and we're all going to have our time where we pass away, you might as well swing for the fences. And I believe people put a lot of executives, CEOs, you name it. We put people on pedestals. We put organizations on pedestals. That they are the chosen ones. They know a secret I don't. They were born to do this. I'm never made for this. And that is just absolute bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. If there's one thing that I've learned through social media than anything else, it is what is truly possible, what the average person can achieve if they just put in the work, put in the time, put in the dedication, learn. You can be like the people that you think are on pedestals. You can, because most of those people aren't like Elon Musk. Most of those people aren't like LeBron James, where they were just born gifted. They were different. There's a few of those people, but most people aren't that way.
Yep.
A perfect example of this is I listen to Andy Frisella a lot, and he's in rural Missouri, and I feel like I can relate to him a little bit, because his story He grew up on a gravel road in rural Missouri, and now he owns one of the largest fitness brands in the entire world, First Form. And he started it. I think he went to college for a year, dropped out, and started it, and has been building it for 20 plus years. And he's the first one to tell you, I was not a smart student. I was not a gifted person. I just put in the time, put in the work, executed daily, day in and day out, learn from my mistakes, continue to learn, and now we're here. And I didn't quit. I refused to quit. And I achieved more than I thought was even possible. And I wish I would have dreamed bigger, because when you dream bigger, you will achieve more. He said, I wish my vision would have been bigger when I was little or younger, because I would have gone for more. Now he dreams huge because he knows what's possible. But that's something that I've had an epiphany about over the last few years is stop putting people on pedestals. You are capable of whatever you set your mind to. I mean, you really are. Besides, like, I know I'm not going to go to the NFL now. I know I can't sing like Morgan Wallen. I can't act in movies. I ain't not going to be able to do that. But can I strive to be a successful business person? Probably. Can I strive to be a successful farmer? Yeah, I can. I probably can. I probably can do that. So you got to be a little realistic about it. But when it comes to money and success and happiness and family life, stop fucking putting people on pedestals. You can achieve whatever you want. You can go out and get it, because there's a lot of people that have made it that are just like you and have come from circumstances just like yours. So,
can I be a model? Probably not.
Probably not.
Could I be a boot model? Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
Maybe. I might be able to strive for that.
You could probably be on a Traeger commercial. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Something like that.
If I had a piece of meat in front of my mouth and had a hat on, so, it was just kind of my eyes. I have pretty eyes.
Yeah. So I was just saying, I was just trying to wrap it up there. Just not wrap it up, but just say, Dad's was talking about planning.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to make that plan seem unrealistic where you are right now. Because if you put in the work, you put in the time, and you do not quit and you continue to learn, you will be surprised at how far you can really go.
Yes, I want to say one thing on that, and I think this is important because this goes with who you spend your time with as far as who you talk to. And I will go all the way back to when my boys were little. My wife, this is something that she picked up on, and something that she tried very hard to not have happen. But I feel like, and I think this is a lot harder today, and I feel bad because we have a whole generation of kids that are going through a really tough time right now, because society is just, it sucks out there to be a kid. But when we would go to pick the boys up, or when we were doing whatever, and she would look at kids, or when one of them did something and we had to get after them, we had to scold them, whatever, she would always take me by the arm and she would say, now whatever you do, don't crush his spirit. Because if you ever watched a group of kids, that is a group of people that anything is possible. Anything is possible. And they have this fire in their eye that it's wonderment, because there's no limits. When you're a kid, there's no limits, because nobody's told you yet that you can't borrow the money to do that, or you can't build that, or whatever it is. You just have this, your imagination is a blank slate. You got all the time in the world, and you don't have any concept of money or shareholders or people riding your ass to get shit done. I mean, it's like you have this just amazing, the possibilities are endless. And then very early on, the walls start getting built around you, and you can see it. What's funny is you can see kids, and I don't know if this is grade school or junior high. I feel like it's right there, 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, when you go to as a parent, when you go to a group thing, you can see the kids that their spirit has been crushed because they don't have that look anymore. They look different. And then there's always a few that, they still have that. They still have that wonderment and that spirit. And she would always say to me, like, when we were at a T-ball game and somebody, one of those fathers that thought it was like the fucking World Series, that your kid dropped the fly and he's chewing their ass, and she's like, well, he just crushed that kid's spirit, But fast forward that to say, when you write down that list and you have these crazy dreams, you got to guard that. You got to guard that.
That's a good point.
You don't tell that shit to just anybody. And I will use this example because I've said this before, but we're just done with graduation season. And I go to these graduations and I see people that I know that I don't know that well, but, we all live in the same area. And, you're making small talk, and people come up and, some people know what we do. Some people don't know what we do, whatever. And they're like, hey, how's it going? Oh, great. How about you? What are you up to? Okay. So, or whatever it is, but I'll give you what are you up to? Okay, I could say what we're really up to, what we're trying to build, what we're trying to do, what we're working on. But I know if I tell them that, they're going to get this look in their face like, that's way more than what I wanted to know. Or they're going to look like, yeah, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. Like they don't give a fuck, or they don't think it could happen. You don't share that. You don't share that stuff with people that are going to crush your spirit.
Yep, that's a good point.
You have to, if you're going to go down the road that you're going to dream big and you've got things that you hold on in your heart, that this is what I'm working for, this is what I'm spending my time at, your circle has got to get a lot smaller to people that are going to lift you up, that are going to support you. Maybe they don't understand it. Maybe they're like the parent that they might go, he's fucking crazy, but hey, if it works, that's really on to something. Those are the people you want to be around. You don't share that with people that are just going to crush your spirit.
That's a great point. I think, like, back to my point about you guys being parents, I don't think you ever crushed their spirit.
We tried not to. And
I think your spirit isn't forever crushed. I guess you can get your spirit back, and I guess that's a thing that's a perspective I've never thought of. Try to be a kid again, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah.
Try to get that spirit back in a dream that you have, and yeah, like Dad said, don't let people crush your spirit. Don't give people the opportunity to crush your spirit. And if those people do somehow do it, you gotta realize that those people don't have the life that you want to go get, and their opinion doesn't matter. Why would you value their opinion if they do not have the life that you want? That's my thing. If you're going to give me advice about a certain subject in life, and that certain subject in your life is trash, why the fuck would I listen to your opinion on that specific area of your life?
100%.
That's also what you got to do. You got to almost have these bullshit detectors. You can sit there and nod your head and say, yeah, but be thinking, who's giving me this feedback right now? Is this person where I want to be, or is this person just shitting on my parade and trying to crush my spirit to make themselves feel better? That's what you got to ask yourself. So, yeah, I think, what do you got, anything else on time?
All I say is, at the end of the day, the most valuable asset that you have, and an asset that you can control, however you can't stop, that is your time. Yep. And we all have a limited amount, and it's up to each one of us to decide, to find out what we're supposed to use it for. And I would just challenge you to spend some time and
think about it, plan it, and execute it. Because it's all about action. At the end of the day, it's all about action. And I just want to give you guys a tip. And I actually came across this I don't know, what is it, a month ago? This app called Things.
Oh, yeah.
This app called Things. It's you want to come down to execution and using your time wisely on a day-to-day basis. This is shameless plug, no sponsorship, no bullshit. This is a app called Things. This is the best productivity hack thing that I've ever came across. It is literally a app that lets you track your to-do list on your phone, and you can add tasks, and you can add tasks for the upcoming week. You can add tasks all the way months away.
And it stays where you can see it. Every time you open your phone, it's right there.
Yep, it has like a widget that it'll be on your home screen with your tasks in your face to show you what you have to do that day.
You can set it to repeat. So if you have redundant things you're trying to do
every single day
or whatever, it'll reset every day, every week, whatever you want.
And you there's a checkbox right by every single task.
Satisfying.
And it's satisfying as shit. You just click it and it checks it off and it disappears off your to-do list. And there's a logbook full of all the tasks that you completed that day. And I've said this many times on this podcast. If you can do 3 to 5 critical tasks that move you closer to your dream every single day, consecutively, 365, fuck, it doesn't even need to be 365. It needs to be
3 or 4 days a week.
No, I'd say 5 days a week. Somewhere in there. If you execute daily, most of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, and you do those critical tasks every day, you are going to get to those monumental moments.
You're going
just
places.
Yeah, you're going to get there. I promise you. You just got to do it. You got to execute. That is like, if you do anything, make a plan and fucking work that plan. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that just consume all the content, all the feel-good content, all the business content, all the shit, and they don't do anything with it. Soaking up all that information and not doing anything, what are you doing? You're just wasting time. And that time is going to go fast, and you're going to wake up 20 years later, and you're going to what?
Not be where you want to be.
And you're going to regret.
Yep.
And the worst thing that you can have happen is regret. You do not want to regret shit. At least that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to regret anything. So take it or leave it. That's my 2 cents. That's your 2 cents.
You bring it home, because there's no whiskey minute today, because I felt like we can't talk about time management and then ended up sitting here drinking whiskey, because we'll just end up wasting time.
There you go.
So the whiskey minute will have to wait for the next one. Today, go get some shit done.
Yep, that's right. I love it. I agree. So you guys know the drill. If you got any value from this one, just want to say, we're no experts in this field. We just give you guys our experience, just like every show on here. You got to do what works for you. But from what we've seen, from what we've tried to accomplish, what we have accomplished, this is the kind of stuff that gets you to accomplishing shit from our experience. So take it or leave it. If you guys got any value from the show, share it, leave a review, submit your questions at barntalkshow@gmail.com. We love you guys. Have a productive week, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode.